Good morning, friends. I am Dr. Gargi Rajvanshi, working as an Assistant Director with the Institute of Company Secretaries of India. Today, I am here to share my views on cybercrime. I would definitely not call it as a lecture on cybercrime because I am sharing my views on cybercrime, how cybercrime has taken place in our society, what are the different variables involved in the cybercrime, what are the different kinds of cybercrime, and what is the legal perspective that we are available for cybercrime. My major focus will be on what is a cybercrime, what are the kinds of cybercrime, what is the legal remedy available for the cybercrime, and where we are lacking, what are the challenges as of now we have for the IT laws respectively. So I will better start with the term cybercrime. Before understanding cybercrime, the first thing that we have to understand what is society and what is the relationship of society with the law. If I have to talk about the relationship of society with law, so I would definitely refer a theory, the theory called spatial temporal. The theory, this is SPI, spatial temporal. The theory says that whenever a temporary space is being created in the society because of the overgoing changes of the society, at that point of time, law has to come into force to fill in that gap. The very evolution of Information Technology Act 2000 in our country is the result of spatial temporal. One can ask why we were not having any IT law before 2000. Because we were not having any IT law before 2000, as the crimes related to IT has happened in between 1970 to 1999. At that point of time, the government realized as we are availing this technology and many of the crimes are committed because of the use of the technology, now this is the right time to prevent that crime which are happening with the aid of the technology. Here in 2000, the government has introduced the Information Technology Act 2000. The Information Technology Act 2000 has been basically evolved with one major purpose, that is to strengthen the transactions and basically the commercial transactions with the help of information technology. Friends, we should not forget that Information Technology Act 2000 is having a background of the ancestral model on e-commerce. But gradually after 2000, it has been evolved again and again in the society that in spite of having the uses of that particular information technology, people are misusing too. That is why many of the crimes like cyber stalking, many of the hacking, cracking, they are being registered in the society again and again. That is why it has taken to the government around 8 years to decide that we have to stop these crimes also. Now the government has realized that we have not only to promote the information technology, but also we have to counter the challenges which are coming because of the use of the information technology. And then friends, we were having our Information Technology Act 2008. If I'll be talking in brief about both the objectives of both the laws, then I'll be telling that the Act of 2000 has been basically come into force to give legal recognition to electronic transactions, to give sanctity to electronic signatures, and to provide a justice dispensable towards the electronic transaction. But when we are talking about the objectives of IT Act 2008, that is IT Amendment Act 2008, the objectives are very wide. Here the IT Act 2008 has focused on data privacy, has focused on information security, has focused on the prevention of cybercrime, and also they have started to define the categories of cybercrime. Now friends, coming to our main topic, the cybercrime. Here I will be dealing basically with three things. What is a cybercrime? What are the different kinds of cybercrime? And what is the legal remedy which is available for these cybercrimes? So coming first to the definition of cybercrime. Friends, cybercrime is made up of two words. One is cyber, second is crime. So here, to understand the words, understand this word in the complete perspective, first we have to understand the meaning of these two terms separately. Crime. As far as the term crime is concerned, the term crime has not been defined in any of the law. Maybe it is IPC, or it is CRPC, or it is General Clauses Act, or any other law. Here the term used in our laws is offence. What is an offence? The definition of offence has been given in Indian Penal Code 1860. It says an act and omission which is prohibited or which is prevented by law will constitute offence. It means any of the act or omission which is prohibited in a particular act or in a journal act will be counted as a offence. So here crime, as we use in a general language, crime replicates to offence only. So crime is any kind of act or any kind of activity or any kind of omission which is being prevented by a specific law or by a journal law or by a procedural law. Now coming to cyber. Cyber is anything which is related to information technology, but in a very general language we deal cyber is something which is related to computer source or computer network. Now while analyzing both the definitions, if one has to be said, one has to reply what is the meaning of cybercrime, then one can say that any of the act or omission which is prevented by law is done either with the help of computer source, computer network, or with the target of computer source or computer network. Or we can say that any crime which is either having the means of computer resource or computer network, or which is having a target of computer source or computer network will constitute a cybercrime. I believe I would have made it clear that what is a cybercrime. To make a clear distinction between a cybercrime and physical crime, I will be saying, for example, A is having a motive to defame someone. A wants to give any kind of injury to someone. For the defamation, what he can do? He can write some letters, can post to his relatives, can post to the public at large, or can place as on the notice board of the university in which teach, where he can say the defamatory statement that A is like that or whatever it is, just to defame it. This is a crime of defamation which is defined under IPC. But now, what will be a defamation under IT Act 2000, or what we call as electronic defamation? One can write on the social media post, or let's say one is having a Facebook account, other person is writing a bad or defamatory statement about someone on the social media, on Facebook or on Twitter, that will amount the cybercrime. So here the term defamation itself is an offense, but when it is done without the help of computer source or computer network, it is a defamation or a physical crime. But when it is done with the help of any computer resource or computer network, then it will be a cybercrime. Now coming to the various kinds of cybercrime. So the classification of cybercrime basically can be understood on 4 parameters. One is, we have a cybercrime which are against the persons, which are against the individuals. Second, we have cybercrimes which are against the society at large. Third, we have cybercrimes which are against the property. And the fourth, we have a cybercrime which is against the society at large. But still, I would like to say the crimes, either they are against the individual or against the government or against the property. In any case, they are against the society at large, because out of a crime, the individual is not getting affected, but the society as a whole is getting affected. Now, starting with the cybercrimes which are against the individual. Friends, I am again repeating, there are 4 categories, there are 4 classifications of cybercrime under which we are going to study their categories. First is the crime against the individual. Second is the crime against the property. Third is the crime against the government. And fourth is the crime against the society. This classification is going to help us the different species of the cybercrime, their implications, as well as the quantum of the remedies which are being provided to them, that is the efficiency that we can assess. Now, starting with the crimes against the individual, I will first start the crimes which are registered against the individual, cyber crimes against the individual. First is the harassment via emails. This harassment via emails is very popular nowadays. According to the National Crime Report Bureau report of 2015, this specific crime has been increased by 20% in last 1 year. What is this crime? It is a common type of harassment where a person is harassed mentally, socially or psychologically by the means of emails. For example, one is sending an email to one person that share your account details with me, I will be giving a gift to you. The person is not responding. Again, the person is sending a mail that please share the details, I will be giving a gift to you. Or let's say one person is sharing the detail that this is the stock brokerage that we are doing, are you interested in these stocks? The person is replied that no, I am not interested in these stocks. Again, the person is sending mails to him. This is also a kind of a psychological crime. Or let's say student, a college going student, she is getting mails from an anonymous person that today the activity that you have done I have not liked, or today you are supposed to do this kind of activity. So any kind of harassment that is being done to an individual with the help of the email will be a cyber crime, and that will come under the category of harassment via email. Now the second one is cyber stalking. Friends, cyber stalking is something that is to follow someone again and again, or creating a kind of a atmosphere of fear or threat for that particular person. Here, when when a stalking is being done with the help of the computer source or computer network, here it comes as to cyber stalking. Cyber stalking can be done while sending the links of the videos, while sending the links of some website, or by sending some SMSs to someone, or by sending some emails to someone, while sending some voice messages to someone. This is a kind of a cyber stalking. This is basically when any communication is being made to the person to put him in the category of a threat or a fear, that will come to the category of cyber stalking. The third category of the crime against the individual is dissemination of any kind of obscene material. Friends, here I would like to say that Indian Penal Code 1860 is very clear regarding the definition of obscenity as well as the crime of sending or disseminating the obscene material. Article 290, 291, 292 of the Indian Penal Code deals with this particular crime. Here, when one person is disseminating the obscene material with the help of the computer or on some computer network or on some computer resource, here this particular crime will be called as the cyber crime. Again, I will be repeating my statement that all these crimes which are done in the physical world, they, when either are done with the help of a computer source or computer network, or with the target of computer source or computer network, they will constitute cyber crime. This is the major difference of crime with cyber crime. Now the fourth one that I am going to discuss is defamation. Friends, I have already quoted an example that defamation itself is a crime under Indian Penal Code 1860, where section 499 that talks about defamation. So here friend, if someone is going to defame the another personality either by using the computer or computer related technology or by using the platform of computer or computer related technology, then it will be amounting as cyber defamation. The next category of the crimes against individuals is hacking and cracking. Friends, here I would like to tell you that hacking and cracking, both of them are the most grave crimes in IT Act 2000, and apart from that, the frequency of these crimes is increasing year by year. In 2014, where we have increase of this particular crime from 12%, here in 2015 report of INCRB, the increase of this particular crime is somewhere around 22 to 23%. Here the term hacking and cracking, usually people feel that this is a synonymous term, but I would say that hacking and cracking, though it is an act of a similar nature, but they are different in two different perspectives. Hacking is when one person is creating an unauthorized access or control to someone's computer and is destroying the data, or is manipulating the data, or editing the data. This is the kind of crime which comes into the hacking. But cracking is a different crime. It is a little graver degree than the hacking, where the one person is creating the control over the computer or computer network itself. Here one person is not going to damage any data, one person is not going to edit any data, but the person will enter into someone's system and will create the data, entire data altogether, to mislead the someone. Another difference that I would like to say, that hacking is somewhere related to the crime of committing a theft towards privacy, and cracking is a crime which is related to the infringement of copyrights. So here, friends, it is very clear, when one person is not taking the control of the entire computer system of someone, but still entering into the computer network or computer system of someone while destroying some data or editing some data or misleading some data, that will amount as hacking. But when some person is taking the entire control of another system, so here, friend, the difference is very clear. Hacking is something when someone is entering into someone's system and editing some data, destroying some data, or manipulating the data, or misleading the data, but the other person is also having the access to the particular system. This is the crime of hacking. But in the crime of cracking, one person is creating the absolute control over another person's computer system or computer network or computer resource without allowing any other access to that particular person, and creating altogether different kind of programs or altogether different kind of information in this particular system. That is called cracking. So that's why cracking is a little grave crime than hacking. Now the next category of the crime is email spoofing. Friends, email spoofing. Spoofing is basically an identity theft or identity imitation. spoofing itself says, for example, I have to log in into SBI bank's, like State Bank of India official website. I have some net banking account with them, and when I'll be entering into SBI.com, then the SBI website will come. But now in SBI spoofing, what other people will do, they will create a similar kind of website in the name of SBI, where the user is not able to distinguish between the two IDs, which one is the original identity, which one is the fake identity. And then let's say they are creating the linkage, they are removing the meta tagging, so that I cannot access the original ID and I should access the fake ID. I'll be accessing the fake ID, I'll be giving my credit card details or debit card details or other account number details. What they will do, they will hack those details, and further they can use the details to hack my account or to put any transaction from my account to any another unauthorized account. So spoofing is something called the identity imitation or the identity theft. Here email spoofing is something, for example, I have a name abc.singh. So I have an ID abc.singh@gmail.com. Now my friends know me from that particular ID. Let's say my friend is hacking into my ID, or any of the person is hacking into my ID, and they are also sending the messages with the name abc.singh@gmail.com. This is an act of email spoofing, when you are creating a identification or imitation of someone's email, and then you are sending the email from that particular identification while creating an impression in the mind of the user that some another person has sent this mail. This is the activity of email spoofing. Another activity which is related to email spoofing is SMS spoofing. Sometimes what people do, they take the number or they take the name of the particular person, and then they are sending the messages from that particular number. So we in our contact list see the name of our friends or our relatives or any of the known person, and we see that this message is being sent by a known person, but actually this is the unauthorized access by some commuters, and they are going to mislead us towards that. So these are also the activities which are covered under cyber crimes, and these cyber crimes are basically done against the individuals. Now the another category of crime which is done against the individual is carding. Friends, in the world of plastic money, now most of us are majorly depending on the plastic money. We are dependent on either on credit cards or on debit cards or any other kind of cards. So here what person does, and I think you might be aware of that, many a time when we are using the ATM card, so what people do, they put a chip in that particular ATM card so that the impression of that ATM card can be taken in that particular ATM machine, and then the unauthorized person can create a card like that. So here carding is also a kind of activity where the false ATM cards or debit cards or credit cards are basically prepared and used by the criminals to provide some kind of monetary damage to the victim by withdrawing money from their bank accounts. So carding is also one of the most conducted crime against the individual. Recently in Hyderabad, the case has been registered in The Hindu that one of the lady, she was using her credit card, and one day she got a bill of somewhere around 2.5 lakh rupees in her name, and then she was surprised that I have not done the transaction, from where this transaction has been done. Then she came to know that her neighbors, they have given a flat on rent to some 3-4 boys who were the IT students of some engineering college. They have hacked into her cards, and they have used her card, they have used her card number for doing those transactions. So this is the act of the carding, and this act of the carding is not only inviting the punishment from the side of the IT Act, but this is also a fraud or a theft kind of thing which creates an offence under IP. Now the next category of the cyber crime against individual is cheating and fraud. See, cheating and fraud in any case is a crime in IPC, but whenever the cheating and fraud is done on the platform of computer and related technology, then it comes into a cyber crime. For example, one person is stealing someone's password. That is a cyber crime. For example, some person is stealing someone's data. That is a cyber crime. Let's say someone is giving a misleading ad on the website to get some money or to brag some money from some individual. This is also a cyber crime. So cheating and fraud, when they are done with the help of any computer source or computer network, or they are going to affect that particular technology at that point of time, this constitute as cyber cheating and cyber fraud. Now the next one is, which is nowadays very well talked among the academicians as well as among the regulators, is the child pornography. Friends, nowadays lot many of unauthorized sources, what they are doing, they are using the computer networks to either create or to distribute or to access the material where the sexually exploited material is available for the children. So this kind of act is prohibited, not only for the sake of the benefit or welfare of the children, but for the sake of the benefit and welfare of the society at large, because some restricted material has to be restricted towards the children. Here, when we talk about the law on this particular act, then I should say that this kind of act is covered under IT Act 2008, Amendment Act 2008 only. But when we talk about the other jurisdiction like US and UK, so I would like to tell you that in US they have a specialized law to deal with this particular crime, and then they have a child, the Protection of Child Against Cyber Pornography Act. So here we are still on an nascent stage to deal with particular crime, but yes, this particular crime is covered under IT Amendment 2008, and there are punishment available against this particular crime not only in IT Act 2008 but also in IPC 1860. Now coming to our second major category, here all the categories of cybercrime that I have discussed, they are the crimes against the individual. Now coming to the second category, crimes against the property. In the crimes against the property are those crimes where the property of someone, either the physical property or the virtual property or the intellectual property, is being targeted with the help of computer network or computer source. Here the first crime, cybercrime against the property, includes the cybercrime against the intellectual property, or we can say the intellectual property crimes also constitute the cybercrime whenever some computer network or computer resource is used to conduct these particular crime. The very major examples of these IPR cyber crimes are software piracy, using pirated material, disseminating pirating material, selling pirated material, infringing someone's copyright, plagiarism, service mark violation, theft of computer source code, etc. So here theft of some computer source code is also a category of cybercrime in the specified category of intellectual property right cybercrime. Now the next one that we previously against the individual, we have discussed the cyber stalking. Now there is another crime which is called as cyber squatting. Friends, cyber stalking and cyber squatting both are different. In cyber stalking, that I have told you, this is the crime against an individual where a kind of an atmosphere of fear or threat is being created for someone with the help of the cyber communication or communication related to IT technology. But cyber squatting is a crime which is against the property. Cyber squatting is a crime where two similar kind of domain name is being created on the platform, and both the people are claiming that yes, I was the first one to create this domain name. He has copied my domain name. He has put a theft on my domain name, and that is why he has to be punished. So that's why a similar kind of domain name being claimed by two different people is called as a crime of cyber squatting. Recently in Europe, the case of yahoo.com. So here two cyber domain name has been created. One was www.yahoo.com, yahoo.com, and another domain name of www.yahoo.com has been registered. So here the Yahoo company has filed a case against the another person on the category of cybercrime, and this cybercrime is called as cyber squatting. So one should not create a kind of a domain name which can mislead the users towards the existing domain name. Now the third category of cybercrime against property includes cyber vandalism. Cyber vandalism is destroying someone's property with the help of computer network or computer resource, or destroying someone's computer either physically or virtually, someone's network or someone's resource with any of the virus or something, that is also cyber vandalism. I can recall one of the instance which has reported in the newspaper long back in 2011, where one of the person, what they have done, they have intruded into someone's network and they have blocked the network. The people on that network, they were not able to communicate their mails to each other, or they were there, all the activities related to IT has been hampered. So this is also the act of cyber vandalism. Here basically the computer or computer resource or computer network or some person is being destroyed by the unauthorized person. Now the next category against the crime is transmitting virus. Friends, transmitting virus is basically a cyber crime for which we have civil as well as criminal remedy. I'll tell you one thing, you can just experience in your laptops and system also. Let's say I want to book a flight from Delhi to Mumbai, and then a flight from Mumbai to Delhi, and I've already booked it. Now whenever I'll be opening my Google or any of the website where the online ads are being given, automatically they will be showing me the flights, that this is the flight rate for the flight Mumbai to Delhi, this is the flight rate for the flight from Delhi to Mumbai. Why this is happening? Are they gods that they are knowing that this is the place where I frequently visit? No. Why they are doing? They are in a practice of sending the cookies whenever you are accessing any website. So at that point of time, the website sends some cookies to your system, and then those cookies are being stored in your temporary files. These cookies, what they do, whatever the activities you are doing online, they create a database of those activities, and in every 24 hours they are sending that data back to their principal website. Here one question can come, let's say I am not online for 7 days, I am not online, how the cookies are going to send the information to their principal website? Here, whenever I will be online, whether 7 days or 70 days or 700 days, they will be sending entire data of my online activities to that particular website. So here those websites comes to know that this is our normal behavior of website, and accordingly they keep promoting their goods and services. So this is an act of transmitting cookies or transmitting web virus or transmitting unwarranted softwares in someone's system. This is also a cyber crime. Here also I would like to say that as far as US is concerned, US is having a specific law that calls as Do Not Track Me Act of 2011, that says that none of the website is allowed to send cookies or webhooks to the system of the user without their consent. They have to send a pop-up that these are the cookies that we will be transmitting into a system. If you are interested, then only you go by the transaction, otherwise you stop your transaction. Next one is cyber trespass. Friends, trespass again is a crime in IPC, which says that getting an unauthorized access into someone's vicinity or someone's property without one's consent. So here also, when one person takes into the access to someone's computer source or computer network without having the access of that particular person who is the owner of that particular computer resource or network, here this act amounts as cyber trespass. Now the next category of cyber crime against property is internet time thefts. See friends, this is a very recent kind of cyber crime that's being reported in India also. What is cyber time thefts? Here I will be telling you one small kind of joke that keep spreading into social media also, that one day some person was complaining about his neighbor, that my neighbor is very miser and I am not happy with my neighbor. So he asked, why you are not happy with your neighbor? So he told that I am not happy with my neighbor because he has not recharged his internet from last 2 weeks and I am not able to access the Wi-Fi. So here what he is doing, that without the knowledge of his neighbor, he is using the Wi-Fi. So here also this is called internet time thefts, where one person is paying for the usage of the internet and another person is stealing the time from that particular internet and then it is using. It is happening for the phone calls also. Let's say I have a time of 200 minutes to be used from my phone to a phone in US or any phone in the US, and then some person might steal 10 minutes or 20 minutes from my system. So actually I'll be having 180 minutes into my system and that particular person will be getting 20 minutes into his system to use it, that minutes for which I have paid. So let's say if that particular person is stealing the minutes, it's doing that internet time theft for 20 people. So 20 into 20, he will be getting 400 minutes into his account without giving any kind of payment. So this is a very new kind of crime, cyber crime, which is happening in our country. Now the third category of the crimes, I think friends I have made it clear that what are the crimes against the individual, what are the crimes against the property. Now the third crime is cyber crime against the government. As far as the cyber crime against the government is concerned, so there are two major crimes which are being done against the government, where government is has supposed to take the action. One is cyber terrorism. Friends, all of us we know that as of now terrorism is very well taking place in the globe as such, and all the governments of the developed countries or the developing country, they are worried about how to stop this particular act. Here recently, yesterday, our prime minister has also talked about the need of having cyber security or a need to curb the challenges of cyber terrorism in the Asian India Summit. So here cyber terrorism is a kind of an activity where terrorism is being done with the help of computer source and computer network. The parliamentary attack which has happened in our country long back, that also included a kind of term of a cyber terrorism, because some computer system has been used to crack that particular crime. Next one is cyber warfare. So cyber warfare is, this is a politically motivated hacking. So let's say one person A is doing the hacking of another person B. This is itself is a crime of hacking, but when the politically motivated to give any damage to the political condition of the country or to outrage the government, at that point of time this particular activity is called cyber warfare. Apart from that, the distribution of pirated software is a cybercrime against the government, because here government has to take care, government has to see that this kind of distribution of pirated software should not be in the society, because this is not only going to give the effect to the society, but this is also going to shake in the economy of the government. Now the fourth category of crime that we have discussed, cyber crimes against the society at large. I would like to tell you that all the crimes which are happening either against the individual or against the property or against the government, they in any case directly or indirectly are the cyber crimes against the society, because the society as a whole is getting affected out of those particular crime. But still there are some crimes which are specifically considered to be the cyber crimes against the society. The first one is the child pornography. Child pornography is one of the severe crime which is being done against the society. Here the children are being getting into the target for the dissemination or for the use or for the access of the pornographed information. Next one is cyber trafficking. Friends, for trafficking I will be saying that trafficking is one of the heinous crime that can be conducted against the human race. Our Constitution of India also talks about the right to not to be trafficked under article 23, which is one of the fundamental right, and then trafficking is a crime in IPC 1860, and here cyber trafficking talks about when the drugs, human being or arms or weapons are being trafficked from one place to another place with the help of the cyber technology, or with the help of the information technology, or with the help of the computer or computer resource or computer networks. At that point of time, this kind of trafficking is called cyber trafficking. We have some sections under the act of in the Amendment Act 2008, which basically prohibits the cyber trafficking, and they also provide some punishment for the cyber trafficking. The next category of the crime against society is online gambling. Online gambling, this is again is not only affecting the economy of the country, but this is also having the effect on the society at large. That is why this is a cybercrime against the society. And the next crime that I will be discussing in this category, this is also a crime against the society, that is the financial crimes. For example, one person is hacking into the website of the nationalized bank, so here, and then he is transferring some of the money from, or huge money, or whatever it is, even a small money. See, I will say that even if you are transferring 1 rupee from XYZ's account without his consent, so it is going to be a crime of theft, irrespective of the fact that how much money you have transferred in your account unauthorizedly. So here financial crimes are basically the crimes not only against society but against the government also, where the financial loss is given to the society as a whole or to the government as a whole. Now as far as the effect of this crime is concerned, I would say that these crimes are having the effect on the society at large. Apart from that, they affect our political conditions, they affect our societal conditions, they affect our economical condition, they also affect the technological know-how of the individual, and that also hampers the growth of the technology. For example, today I know that I can use net banking, and with the net banking it is very easier to transfer my money from one account to another account. But if I'll be noticing that 5-6 activities that in the net banking someone's account has been hacked or someone's password has been put to theft, so I'll be little restricted in doing that particular net banking. So that is why, to control this particular crime, the government has introduced IT Act 2000, and with the changes in the society, IT Amendment Act 2008 has also been introduced. While talking this particular crimes, we have two kinds of remedies which are available in the IT Act. One is the civil remedies. Section 43 basically talks about the section 43 and 43A basically talks about the civil remedy, and then we have criminal remedy also. 43A and section 66 they talks about the criminal remedy. In the civil remedy, one can be asked to pay the compensation to the other person who is the sufferer of that cyber activity, and that compensation or the fine can reach to 1 crore or 5 crores too. And as far as the criminal activity is concerned, so in the IT Act 2008 Amendment 2008, punishment is being given for committing the cyber crimes, for which the punishment can be 1 year or 3 years or more than that, depending on the gravity of the crime. So here what are we saying, that yes, civil remedies as well as criminal remedies are available against the cyber activities which are prohibited by the law or which are not good for the society as a whole. But still I would be saying that there are some gray area that has to be considered for the IT law. Why? Because the technology is changing very fast and law has to be updated with the technology. For example, the crime I have told you recently, that is the time theft, the internet time theft. This crime has been not registered in last 3 years, but before 3 years, but in last 2-3 years this has been registered in a quite a big number of cases. So here law has to take place according to the changes in the society, and what we can think of or what we can suggest to the government or the regulators, that why we are not having the specific categories of the punishment according to the specific categories of the crime. Because as I have discussed the specific categories of the cyber crimes, the specific categories of the crimes are not available. The crimes are journal and the punishment is also journal for them. So that is why we can request the or we can just see, because the government is already working in a particular way where this cyber crimes can be curbed and can be prevented and can be punished according to their gravity. But as of now, the maximum punishment that the IT Act provide for the cyber crime is imprisonment of 3 years with fine, or imprisonment of 2 years with or without fine, or both. Thank you friends, this is all about I have discussed about the cyber crime. In any case, you are having any kind of query regarding to cyber crime, you can send queries or you can send emails to me on my official ID, that is gargi.rajvanshi@icsi.edu. Thank you very much.